And one. Good morning, everybody. In today's segment, I'm going to teach you how to follow up and sell like crazy. One of the biggest mistakes people make with clients, I do not care what industry you're in, is they don't follow up. And it's typically because they don't know how to follow up. So today, I'm going to break down my system. I'm going to screen share and show you my CRM. I'm going to show you an example of an action plan that I built to follow up with clients who don't know who I am, who probably don't want to talk to me. And I'm actually going to show you some email templates that we built to automate some of that to make sure that I can do this at scale. And I'm going to show you one secret that you can do with your CRM to understand how to figure out which the best email templates might be for you to use and just refine that process. My name is Justin Conoco. If you've never been to this channel, I own Prime Real Estate. I own Prime Media Productions and the agency with my beautiful, intelligent wife, Shannon. She is the brains, MBA from the Richard Ivey School of Business. She is systems and operation. I am the energy. So if you're joining me at 7 a.m. for this live segment, you probably feel like you just got shot out of a cannon. That is my energy. But the reason I do it on YouTube is so that you can play it at maybe like 0.25 speed, take your notes, and then implement this in your own business. The people that are here live, I see a ton of people in the comments. I see Olivier Maurice. He's the gentleman from Quebec. Money is in the follow-up. He's a commercial real estate agent in Montreal, specializes in selling old churches. And yeah, the money is in the follow-up. I see Kate Volman. She has an amazing email newsletter. Make sure you connect with her as well. Good morning. Derek Bixler. I mentioned him this morning on Clubhouse. He's a dynamo when it comes to Google My Business. I appreciate you, brother. I see Ramon Ray, one of the best daily newsletters I've ever seen, BWC Daily. The blog is fire. He actually is at the helm of Breakfast with Champions, and man, his energy is awesome. Also a national speaker, so connect with him. Yasmin, I see you. Good morning. I also see Debbie. I see Dream Plan. I see Kendrick. I see Tina. What I want to know, though, is what business are you in? I will watch the chat. If you can tell me what business you're in, I'll give you guys a couple bonuses for being here on the live, and I'll actually think about some ideas on how you can do follow-up in your business, maybe if it's separate from real estate. So be inspired by the follow-up, but don't think that you need to replicate me, right? You need to do this in your own methodology. I'm not trying to create a whole bunch of mini Justins. I'm trying to show you and demystify the follow-up process so you can actually make more money. I see Jeff Moffitt. I'll give him the first shout out. He is property investor, pastor, speaker, consultant. So if I was going to pick one of those, let's go with the pastor piece first, right? The follow-up piece would be you are creating a community and drawing people to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, right? So what you're going to do is probably put out content over a period of time to create that community. But sometimes you have some sheep that are like just on the outskirts and they don't want to come into the herd, and you don't want to push them and make them feel like you're following up with them to get them in because they just think you want their money and you want all these things that they think are preconceived notions of who you are as a person. So a lot of times in the follow-up, it's going to be you showing them your intent and what it's like to be in your community before they're in your community. So the first thing I was going to talk about today is the importance of following up in sales. Is every follow-up is an opportunity to show the client what it's like to work with you. Right? So every connection, every human being, whether they walk into your coffee shop, whether they walk into your church, whether you meet them on the street, once they know who you are and what you do, it actually gives you an opportunity to showcase them glimmers of what it's like to be in your actual community. So when I think of that from a real estate perspective, I know people come to me from market intelligence, right? The world is topsy-turvy right now. Rates are increasing, prices are dropping. What do I do? So I just share a lot of my insights with these people, and I just try to get a gauge of who they are and what's important to them. Now, mistakes that you need to avoid when following up with people, and I'll just drop you off the screen, Jeff, is mistakes that you could make, say, Jeff, when following up with somebody like that is not meeting that person where they're at. I think a lot of salespeople, especially when you get into like heavy scripting and you've built structure, you just ignore the fact that this person's communicating back with you. I think sales in 2023 is very different than it was 30 years ago, where that methodology worked because it was a volume game. In 2023, it's more about empathy and listening to the problems that those people have, right? Maybe somebody in the community is dealing with addiction and they have to address that before they feel comfortable getting in a social environment, and maybe one-on-one makes a lot more sense to them than being in a huge crowd of people that makes them super, super anxious, right? So not meeting that person where they're at means that they'll probably never end up in their community. And I'll make the parallel to real estate. I think if I get a lead that clicks on one of my properties and I'm just trying to shove that property down their throat, how would you feel? Jump in the comments and let me know. Like, if you're a consumer and a real estate agent is just harassing you, when do you want to see it? When do you want to do this? When do you want to do that? You're probably not going to be very reactive to that person. And I know that because we have called thousands and thousands and thousands of people on listings that we have. What I find works way better than that is just getting a gauge for where they're at in the buying cycle, right? Are you in the market right now? If you are, that's a different set of responses than I'm just paying attention to what's happening with the Bank of Canada or the Fed. Like, I'm really concerned about the market. That's a response. And if I can meet you where you're at with that response and say, oh, amazing. Well, I dive into market intelligence on a daily basis because that's what I get paid to do. I have a weekly newsletter where I break that down very honestly. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to tell you every time's a great time to buy. If you want those market insights boiled down, I can do that for you. I would say I get a 90% response rate when I break it down that way. Or if you're an investor and you want off-market deals, I have a separate newsletter for that. And it's really just trying and listening and writing down the responses that you get and then creating solutions for those responses. I do think that there's many, many other mistakes that happen when you're doing the follow-up, but I've got about 15 minutes to get through this segment today. So what I'm going to do, and this was inspired by my friend Kim Walsh Phillips, is at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you an opportunity to join a very exclusive list. And on that list, I'm going to be giving limited access to private sessions where I dig into each of these topics much, much deeper. I would need more than 30 minutes to dig into each one of these topics, but I'm going to structure a class on follow-up and then provide that to our community. I'm not going to charge for that. It's going to be something that I do. All you need to do is share this episode with somebody. Make sure you click that subscribe button on YouTube. And then at the end of this episode, stick around and I'll show you how you can get on that exclusive list if you think follow-up matters and if you want to grow your businesses. Number 3, in terms of after you've realized the mistakes that could be made in follow-up, I want you to really personalize your approach. So I believe in empathetic selling. I believe that the human being is what matters. People look at my profile photo on all of the different platforms. Maybe the people that don't know me think that all I care about is sales and volume and numbers. Quite the opposite. I actually believe in people before profits. The founding principle of my brokerage is do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, rather in humility, value others above yourself. Easy to write on a wall, difficult to put into practice if you're in the real estate business where everybody's out to get you. But I do think personalizing your approach, like I just did, and explaining to your community who you are, how you show up, and why you're there is going to make it a very different interaction than Uncle Jimmy, the real estate agent, sending you fridge magnets, calendars that look the exact same. You go on their social media profiles, their posts are regurgitated from their brokerage. There's no personalization to it. So I think when I call a lead and I do my follow-up, one of the biggest reasons I convert is I'm usually trying to make a friend before I actually connect with them about what they're asking me for. I'm asking them where they're from, what their interests are, what their family dynamics are. Do they like fishing? Do they like F1? Like, there's commonalities that you'll find with people in this world that you are far more alike than you are different, right? And I do think from a marketing branding perspective, all the segments I've done on content marketing, that's why that's so important, because when you convert leads through that type of marketing, they're going to be the right fit clients, like Kim says, and they dequalify themselves if they don't like you, which is fantastic. But by the time you actually end up on the call, like, you still need to make that connection. And one of my mentors taught me, you got to make a 60-second friend. So when you connect with that person, make sure in the first 60 seconds, you actually try and make a connection with them. And again, I'll dig into more personalization follow-up in the private class that I'm going to do. But for now, I'm going to get through a few other key points that I think matter. If you're enjoying any of this content, jump in the contents and let me know. I see Dream Plan Start Grow. I promised I would help give a little bit of insight on how you could follow up. You do marketing and business coaching. So I think that's really simple. One thing is I'd go check out Kim Walsh Phillips's content. She's got a really good base of how to kind of create that base in that community. For the follow-up, I think I would do exactly what I said, is I would start connecting people into your CRM. I would create an action plan of how am I going to follow up with these people? And then I would bring in the human empathetic selling, and I would start meeting these people where they were at. I sell on a very one-to-one basis when it comes time to do the transactions because of the dollar volumes of my transactions. Something you may want to think about is scaled responses, right? Because a lot of your clients are going to have similar problems. So I would say high ticket, high value one-on-one, or groups where you'll have a group of people that have very similar problems. But it's going to take a staged approach to get them from just like Pastor Jeff outside of the church to into the church to the one-on-one. And you really got to meet people where you're at. I also see Tressie, home-based baking and handmade jewelry. This I love. The answer for you, my friend, is YouTube. I think if you really built a follow-up plan built around YouTube, pillars of content, building a newsletter, a YouTube channel, and then engaging with that community and giving them somewhere where you can connect with them one-on-one, I think it's amazing. My mailing lists have direct access to me, right? Let me say that again. I'll give you an opportunity to join it at the end. My mailing lists can email me directly and get a response from me. I've done video reviews. I've looked at people's YouTube channels, given them advice. Like, you'd be surprised how I can scale the unscalable, but it's because I built a system, and I'll show you that system in a couple seconds. We jump back into it. I think I'm going to show you a couple examples of successful follow-up techniques. So I think a couple people were waiting to see this. If you're excited to see my actual CRM, let me know. Before I show you the CRM, I always like showing you a photo because a bit of a street photographer, and I like shooting landscapes. This is the Osable River in Grand Bend, Ontario. If I didn't mention it, I sell real estate. If you're looking to relocate anywhere on the planet, make sure to send me a DM. I have one of the best networks on the planet. And one of the reasons why I love sharing photos like this is if obviously you're looking to relocate to Canada, you definitely want to hit me up because we have our black belts in real estate. That is a fact. So here is an example of a follow-up plan. And this is how crazy I am. I'm actually opening up my CRM and showing you the back end. Like, this is hundreds of thousands of dollars of information that we built over the years. This is a basic follow-up action plan. It was created on June 9th, 2022. So this was one done by my admin, and it was refined from another plan for one of our agents that works within Prime. So we took our base plan, we're refining it for that individual. I'm going to show it to you in execution. So immediately when somebody comes into my database, they get a touch, right? They get an introduction or an initial contact. Super important, because the one thing real estate agents suck at is calling people back. So we want to be the best at calling people back. Then he actually sends an email template. Kyle, introduction email. You want to see what that email looks like? This is what it looks like. Hi, contact first name. This contact first name is called a merge tag. You can add merge fields to your CRM. And what it means is it means we're putting somebody's first name at the first portion of this email. So I can use this email template for 20,000 people, and it's always going to put their first name in there. It personalizes it, and it's an automation that prevents me from having to type in their name every single time. So if you can take anything that takes 20 clicks and make it take 2, think about all the time that buys you back. Hi, I hope you're doing well. My name's Kyle, and I work with Prime Real Estate. I'd love to connect with you as soon as possible to chat about what's going on in this incredible housing market. Are you free today, tomorrow for a quick call? Looking forward to hearing from you. What's key about this email template is he's just asking for the call, because most people just aren't going to respond to an email. We don't want to give them all the information because they're going to dequalify themselves. I know this because I've sent thousands of emails where they just dequalified themselves from the right fit home, and they just didn't know the dynamics about that neighborhood, the home, and the opportunity. So we really want to get on the call first. Then we actually follow up. Second day, we follow up with the second email template. This is a fun one, so I'm going to show you this one as well too. This is the cold buyer follow-up, and it says Serhant because this actually came from Ryan Serhant himself. So I've worked with the Serhant organization since 2018. Fun fact, if you want to watch that meeting, I actually just posted it yesterday. This has never been seen before. It's my initial meeting with Ryan before he had the courses, before he had everything else too. Personal friend. He's the mentor I referenced earlier about the 60-second game. And what he shares here actually still stands up. So save this in your tabs to watch later. I just dropped it in the actual comments. I'll drop it in the comments on Clubhouse too. If you're new to my segments, I go live on Clubhouse at the same time as I stream on YouTube. It's literally happening right here. So you can join us there if you want the live segments and you want to interact. But this meeting was fire. So yeah, he gave us his actual cold email follow-up templates. Hi, contact first name. Thank you. Would you be interested in a market report? So his second email is a little bit different. And let me just get rid of this merge tag so I can edit that on the fly. He really just offers market insights. So maybe they didn't respond to my first follow-up. They're going to probably respond to the market insight one. And it also gives me the opportunity of this template highlighting something that I could include as an item of value. So this is getting a little bit more high level, but if you're creating follow-up email templates at scale for your sales team, you can build it in such a way where they know item of value. Send that person something they can't find on MLS themselves. Show them what it's like to work with you, even though they haven't worked with you. How amazing would it be if you clicked on a lead for a lakefront property in Grand Bend and then I sent you an off-market deal 2 days later? you're probably going to respond to me because that's not something you typically get from other real estate agents. So these are just a couple ways that you can do that. You can build it into the action plan. I'll show you the whole plan, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. And then at the end of the plan, we requalify. And what we look at is what stage is that lead in? Are they just non-responsive? Do they not care about responding? Am I wasting my time with this person? And I've built longer term automations to get them on our newsletters and ecosystem until they put their hand up. Because I'll show you something super interesting. When you look at this screen, it shows you I've got 757 email templates. When I actually click over here, if I go to sent, I sent 42,000 of my investor drops. I only had 101 unsubscribes out of 42,000. And I've got a massive, massive database of people that are opening. If I look at actual open rate, I can see the YouTube blueprint. So I have a document. If you're interested in getting started on YouTube, just DM me the word YouTube on Instagram and I'll just send it to you. I have 100% buy-in on people sending me this. I'm very cautious about who I sent this to. I only built it a little while ago and I actually sent it to 13 people and 100% have opened them and a whole bunch of them have clicked on it. When I look at this, I think it's super important to understand the dynamics of your action plans and your follow-ups, right? Really getting into the science of it. Once you understand how to sell, once you create some automations around it, reviewing what people are enjoying, what's hitting, gives you the opportunity to replicate it and repeat it. Again, one of my favorite people, because she's on Clubhouse, standing right next to me, Kim. She creates something, sees that it's working, replicates it, refines it, replicates it, refines it. It's that forever. Real estate sales, everything I'm talking about is just like jujitsu. It's literally you do this, I do that forever. And it's this constant game of improvement as algorithms change, systems change, people change, goals change. It really gives you a fluidity where you're not tied to the result. As long as you're doing the actions and the follow-up, really does put you in a place where you can't not find success. If you agree with me that following up with people will help you find success, please, please, please just jump in the comments and let me know. If you disagree, this may not be the right video for you. Please go to my channel, find another video. There's tons of content creation, business strategy, creating actual videos and how I structure them. It's all on my YouTube channel, but this is about follow-up. Next, I want to give you a couple tips on following up with different types of clients. So one thing people are very confused about when it comes to me is they think I just sell giant houses. I actually got started in commercial real estate. So I do a ton of multifamily. I do retail. I do developments. I do a lot of transactions you actually don't even see in my production reports on the board because they're off market. I love creative problem solving. It's one of my favorite things to do. So how do I navigate different types of clients and wearing different types of hats? I built an amazing team. So we do residential, commercial investments, agriculture, recreational properties. I've got like Navy SEAL team leaders of each of those divisions that I collaborate on files with, and then people underneath them that are learning our process and system and collaborating with us. So I've got my snipers, my medics, I've got my tech guys. Really depends on what we're working on. But I got a call yesterday from a client. Actually, I can't talk about that. I got a call from a client in the retail sector looking for tenant acquisition. And how do I wear that hat and then call the guy and follow up with the person that is asking about luxury property? I would say preparation is key, right? The easiest way to follow up with different types of clients is just be prepared. And if you don't have a system for being prepared, you have a system. Your system is just not having a system. So I think even taking 5 or 10 minutes before you batch your follow-ups with different types of clients to just dig into the market, make sure you have value, make sure you actually know the market, is going to make it a lot easier than me following up with a luxury guy, a commercial guy, an investment guy, and then cycling through those 3 over and over. I should almost be breaking it out into sessions. And then I think get that market intelligence, get an item of value, then follow up with the client, deliver massive value, and then convert it. How do you handle rejection and stay motivated? It doesn't matter. Like I said, don't be attached to the result. Everybody that says they don't like me, every unsubscribe I get on my newsletter, everybody that says no to working with me is the best news on the planet. Because there's 8 billion people on the planet, and that's getting me closer to the 7.9999 billion people that do want to work with me, right? It's a net positive. Because jump in the comments if you've ever had a client that you hated working with. Guess what? I rarely get those clients because of the way that I do my content and I follow up. I want to dequalify the wrong people and I want to find the right people. And when you find the right people, they will be all in. And that's where we're going with this channel. Is we want to find the right people that love this content. We don't want the people that think there's no value to it, because why would I put this much effort giving all this stuff away for free? I got a question from an audience member. Do you or Kim suggest a particular CRM for coaching space? Jump into Clubhouse and ask in the comments. Maybe she can answer that in Q&A in a couple seconds. I think there's a bunch of different ones. HubSpot is one of the better ones on the planet. Like if I didn't own the brokerage and I was just in the agency or maybe coaching space, I'd probably use HubSpot. I know Ramon Ray is a phenomenal guy as well too. So Ramon, maybe you can jump in the YouTube comments and help him out. But yeah, send me a message if you can't find one. There's a ton of great CRMs out there. I did another video if you want to binge watch that on CRMs on this channel. And it is an entire breakdown of how I set it up, how I use my stages, tags, all that stuff too. So if you want to check that video out, feel free. The last piece, well, it's great actually. You asked a question. The last piece was how do you use technology to streamline your process? And I think I just answered it. There's another video on my channel that you can watch that actually breaks down that entire process. But this segment was 8 different ways that you can really create a better system for follow-up. I never have enough time to get through all 8 really in depth. So I'm going to drop a masterclass on this. If you want access to the masterclass, go to justinconoco.com/resources. I just dropped the link on YouTube. I almost ended the room on Clubhouse. Let me just remove the link here. I'm going to add the link on Clubhouse. Let me just see. I have no idea where the links went. I'm going to drop it for the mods. Actually, Mary Lynn, can you add the justinconoco.com/resources? Thank you. I don't want to end the room in the middle of my stream. And you can go there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give like very, very limited access to a one-on-one session with me where I'm going to go very deep and do a lot more Q&A onto this 8-step process to refine your follow-up. I'm going to bring on some of the prime superstars, get them to chat about it. I have some of the most incredible sales trainers you've ever met on the planet. Again, I'm not selling anything. I do this because nobody did it for me. I had to go find the mentors out there like Ryan and Scott. And, those people poured so much into me when they didn't have to. They didn't know me from Adam. And I just want to give back to the community. I want to save you from making the 10,000 hours of mistakes that I made so you can find the best version of yourself. I truly do believe that iron sharpens iron, and so does the countenance of one friend sharpen another. So if you agree that being around the right people makes you better, hit that subscribe and that like button, jump in the comments, let me know who you are so we make that connection, and looking forward to seeing you in the masterclass if you jump in early enough. But I'll catch you on next week's segment, 7 a.m. live on Breakfast with Champions or on this YouTube channel. Take care for now.